All right, so we want a navigation on our page. So I want a logo on there, and I have these two links that I want to have over here. And there's a very standard way of creating navigations. So in my HTML, we can go all the way at the top. And right now, I just have a header right here, and inside my header, I have this logo. So if we come take a look at what I have right now, we just have the logo sitting right here. And what I want to do is, instead of having that inside my header, I'm going to leave my image that's there, but I'm going to come after the image and I'm going to add in a nav. And the nav element is, as it's short for navigation, so nice and straightforward right there. And then inside the nav, we want a list of all the different pages that people can go and visit. And because it is a list of pages, it is standard practice to do this inside of a UL. You might just want to put all of your links in here and that's it. But it's just, if you're getting into web development, this is the standard practice, is to include it in a list. It does require a little bit more styling to get it to look the way you want it to, but I would encourage you to do it this way because this is how you're going to be doing it basically all the time. So because it is a UL for an on-ordered list, we do need to have list items. And then each list item is going to be a link. So we can do that. So we bring in the A with the href attribute on there to link to the page that we want to go to. This is going to be my index.html because it's going back to my home page. And in here, I can just write home. And then we'll come in with another one. So list item, and then a href is equal to, close that. And then this one is going to my getting started page. And then here I can put in the link that I want it to go to. So it'd be getting started.html. Just make sure that it links to whatever pages you need to be linking to. And this is using relative links. So if you are using subfolders and other things, just be a little bit careful with that and make sure you're actually getting to your page. So there's my nav, my UL, the list item. So now once you have that set up and we go take a look at what we have, we'll have a bullet list coming in that is right there. Mine's being centered, which we'll get rid of because most of your lists won't look like that. So I had a text-aligned center on my header. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down over to right here. We're sort of like a generic section. We're going into my layout things. I like trying to organize my CSS in a logical way like that. And I want to select, I need to change what the list looks like, right? We need the elements to go next to one another. We don't want bullet points that are going to be there. And we could do that with a nav UL like this to select the UL as a descendant selector that is inside of my nav, because we have our UL that is inside of the nav. This could work perfectly fine. The one thing I am going to recommend though is on your nav to also give it a class. And I'm going to call mine primary navigation. The reason I'm going to recommend that you do this, and on a small project that you're working on, you definitely don't need to, but it's possible to have multiple nav elements on your page. You might have a different nav that's in your footer, or you might have a footer that's a table of contents somewhere and it looks different from this navigation. And in that case, if you're styling just based on the nav element, it's going to make it really easy to run into conflicts with your styling. Whereas if you style it just based on the class that you're putting, then it's going to be a lot safer and easier to work. The other thing really quickly with that is if ever you do have multiple navigations on your page using nav elements, if the navigations are different, so one of them is this and then you have a breadcrumb somewhere else that is completely different in how it's the links that are in there, you also should actually come on this and do an area label and label it as well. So you could label it as your primary navigation. I'll turn off word wrap or we'll stretch this out just so you can see it all. So this is just adding a label for screen readers and assistive technologies. So when it comes across this navigation, it will know it's your primary navigation. And if you have a table of contents lower down that has a different set of links with a different label on it, it just distinguishes and differentiates the two of them. So primary navigation that's on there. So I'm going to select it. We have our nav UL, just replace that with my primary navigation UL here. Nothing has changed. We haven't styled it. And the very first thing we usually put on this is a list style of none. And then I can refresh and the bullet points disappear. Fantastic. We do want to be a little bit careful with list style of none, because again, with assistive technologies, in certain situations, this actually takes away the semantics of the element. But if it's being used within a nav element, we are safe to do this with how the assistive technologies work. Now, there's another problem with lists in general is they actually have other styles that are there by default, but we just don't see them as much. But you notice there's a really big space on the side here. So if I right click on here and I do an inspect, and we go and take a look at that element, we're going to grab the entire list, or I'm going to hover over it and we can actually see right now. We have the orange on the top of the bottom, and we have this big green part here. And if we come and take a look over here, you can actually see let's just make it a bit bigger, that I have 40 pixels of padding on the left and I have 20 margin on the top and the bottom. And for when we're trying to make a regular navigation that goes across the top of the page, this really does get in the way. So it's very common. We have a list style of none, margin of 0, padding of 0. And by doing that, we get rid of all the extra spacing that was on there. But now we have two different things that we need to try and do. We need to try and get these over onto the top right side. And then we need these to actually go next to one another. And for this type of thing, I would recommend that you use Flexbox. And to highlight a little bit of how it's working and what's actually going on, let's go take a look again at the HTML. I have my header here, I have this image, and then I have my primary navigation. So what I'm going to do is we're going to come right here. These are all going to get deleted after, but we'll say the header will get a border of 5 pixels dotted red, and we will be able to see there's my header. And if you're having any issues visualizing what's happening, remember everything in CSS is a box, and it's really useful to either put background colors or borders on things so you can see those boxes. Get things where you need them to be and then just remove those borders later. So that's the header. We have the logo that's in there, so that would be our header img. We can give that a border of 5 pixels. We'll do solid green. And we can see that. We don't really need it on the image, but I'm going to put it there anyway. And then we have the primary navigation. So primary navigation, since we have a selector for that. And for that, I'll give it a border of 5 pixels. And let's do dashed purple. And there we have that showing up there. We have this red box on the outside, the green one here, and then the dashed purple one there. And whenever we have this type of thing going on, what we can do is I'm going to go on this header and we can throw a display flex on here. And the display flex, like when we're using grid, so if you set up if you followed along with the previous section where we set up our grid there, it won't really change the behavior on the header itself, what's going on outside of it. It changes the behavior of the elements that are inside of it. So when I do a display flex here and I refresh, they actually go next to each other, and that primary navigation is now shrunk down. You can see it's actually really small. It's really cool. It's very, very useful. And we don't have to do anything else. Display flex, the elements will always get as small as they can they'll always shrink down to the size of the content that's inside of them. So if you have lots of content, it will actually stay big. But when you have navigation links and other things, they get much smaller, and it will make things go next to each other by default. Now, the problem is they're stuck together, right? You have the logo and then my links here. And I actually want to send my links all the way over to the top right side instead of being here. And when we use Flexbox, first of all, we can create spaces ourselves. So you can create a gap between your elements. So I could say here the gap is 50 pixels, and then it would create a space of 50 pixels between them. The one thing that you could run into trouble with is, like, don't try and gap it so it's all the way over, right? I could come in with a gap of, I don't know how big this would be, like 800 pixels maybe. And that was too big, so it's actually flowing off the side of my page. But you can, you could try and magic number your way to getting it where you want. But then when you change the size of the browser, you just start running into like issues because that gap isn't going to be consistent and always the same. So gap is for like the small space that you might want to put between things, right? So here I just want to make sure they're not touching. That's what you want to use gap for. If you need to spread things out, we have another property that you'd want to use, which is justify content. Justify content has lots of different options. So example, if I said end, it's going to move over to the end, the same way a text align end would send things all the way over to the end. And for some of these, they have very good use cases. In this case, the one we want to use is space between. And if I put a space between, so let's take this one off for a second. I'm just going to delete that. It's going to take all the leftover space that's over here, and it's going to place it in between the elements instead. So space between. And we refresh and then we see that happening. Again, this is one of the reasons I like having the borders on here, is because I can see that there was leftover space because I see that big red box that's going out there. And then I go, I can use that space and put it all in the middle, and then it spreads the elements out. And then I can take this border off, and then I can take this border off, and then we have this guy here. But we have a problem. Our links are now stacking on top of each other. The reason the links are stacking on top of each other is because these are list items. And because they're list items, they're block level elements and they're stacking. When we do the display flex, like I did on the header here, The only elements that are becoming flex items, so they're flexible and they're going next to each other instead, is the image and the nav. It's only going to affect the direct children. If we had another element here, let's just throw a span here just to highlight this. Hello there. And I push refresh, the direct children are all going next to one another, and it's distributing the space in between each one of them. We don't want a span in this case, get rid of that. But same idea now, if I want these list items to go next to one another, well, they're block level elements right now. I need that behavior to change. I can go on my UL, make this a display flex, and then they'll go next to one another. So we can come back to here, primary navigation. We already selected our UL earlier, so I could just come here and say display flex, refresh, they go next to one another, but they become stuck together. We've already seen we can create space with a gap, refresh, and it adds that space there. Maybe we want to do 20 pixels there, and we get a bigger space coming between them. And then I can get rid of that border that's right here, and it's starting to look much better. But there's more, because we're doing a navigation, and usually the links in your navigation look different from the links in the rest of your site as well. So here I have the primary navigation UL. I could come here and say primary navigation A and style my links now. And this is another reason actually why having a class on here is beneficial. And we'll talk about that in a second, but I'm going to say my color is actually black. My font weight is going to be bold. Let's go take a look. And I want to turn off the text decoration. So text decoration. Gotta spell things, my goodness. Decoration of none. And hit refresh, and then the text decoration is gone. And often we probably want to have some sort of, and you probably want to have some sort of hover state. So we can come in with our primary navigation, a hover. If you're doing a hover, always have a focus version of that. And if you're doing focus, you probably want to do focus visible, which is the new default in browsers. It's the much safer, not much safer, but it's a little bit of an improved version of focus. So I'm doing both my hover and my focus visible at the same time. And then we could say the color is going to that green color, which I had on my links. What are those links? Let's go find them. I'm going to add that color onto the hover states right here and hit refresh. And there we go. Probably too light of a color, but at least it works and it looks a little bit different. And one of the reasons I do like having the class on here, this class is boosting the specificity of my selector. So the specificity of the selector is 0, 1, 1. And the nice thing with this is it means the order of your CSS becomes a little bit less important. Because up higher, I did have the style of my regular links and my hover links here. And this is styling them. And just to make sure that my style is winning, it's coming second, which it means it's going to win. But by having a more specific selector on here as well with this class on there, it just means like, yes, my links that are in primary navigation should be this. And it's basically going to happen because of the extra specificity these selectors have for the links that are up here. So I personally think it's one of the reasons I like having that on there. I think it's a very safe way to do things. It scopes the styling of these styles to my primary navigation, and I know it won't come in anywhere else.